Yo, what's up, all you burner stoners and potheads? This is Weedman 420 with the Weedman 420 Chronicles. How are all you vipers doing out there? Mrs. Weedman.
Mr. Weedman.
How the hell are you?
Fantastic.
I love it. Hey, all you vipers out there in the world, hopefully you're smoking some big fat doinks while you're listening to the show. Mrs. Weedman and I are going to talk to you today about the latest in cannabis research, science, health, political news, international news, and end it with some cannabis culture. And now, all you vipers, Mrs. Weedman and I are going to do something different today. We're about to get normal with some strawberry pound cake made by our friend Wolfman. And we are dabbing today, everybody. We didn't dab on 710 because the show was after. And, 710 was after we did the show. But so we're going to do some strawberry pound cake. And I'm going to start this puff go up for Mrs. Weedman. You ready, Mrs. Weedman?
I am ready.
Here you go. Get ready.
Tell me when, Mr. Weedman.
I will. And while we're waiting for this to get ready to smoke, strawberry pound cake is a modern, dessert-leaning hybrid strain known for its sweet berry notes layered over rich, creamy vanilla dough base. When processed into hash rosin, the cultivar retains its full spectrum solventless terpene profile, providing a smooth flavored dab or vape aroma and flavor. Ripe berries, creamy vanilla, and earthy sweet dough. The dominant terpenes are caryophyllene, limonene, and myrcene, and reported effects are calming, tingling, and euphoric. User frequently notes a heavy, relaxing body buzz, coupled by some mental clarity because it leans towards relaxation. It's highly popular choice for afternoon or evening unwinding consistency, as the solventless hash rosin usually appears as rich batter jammer sauce, preserving the purest natural trichomes without using chemical solvents during extraction.
Mr. Weedman's panicking because he's got to hit it before it turns off. Hurry, and then you could explain.
So we set this at 420.
Yep.
Of course.
Which isn't very hot. So we don't get the big clouds.
We do for more for flavor.
Yep.
Yes. And this is delicious. Pass it back to you, Mr. Weedman.
Is there any time left on it?
Yeah, you got time. You got 41 seconds. We set it for about 1:45. So we pass it back and forth when we smoke this. But I would like to thank our friend Wolfman. We've had him on the show many, many times on the Grow Hour. And he's done some great... If you want to learn about hash making, all the different styles of hash, all the different styles of concentrate, listen to the Grow Hour with Wolfman. We did 3-4 shows with him, I believe. And absolutely just an amazing hash maker, but also an amazing grower. He gets a lot of his genetics from Big Earl. This was one of them. The strawberry pound cake came from Big Earl. Phenomenal grower, too. Go check him out on his Instagram. It'll be on our... whatchamacallit.
The show summary. Are you trying to figure out how to get a hit?
I was trying to.
Strategic.
But I will tell you what.
You didn't get one.
Yeah, I got a little guy. Mrs. Weedman's going to clean it out, and we're going to smoke a little bit more of it later and have some fun with it. So when you're done dabbing, we have a Q-tip over there that we clean it out, and then after each use, you clean out the dab rig, and you make sure you put fresh in there. You take the old burnt stuff out. You don't want to taste that burntness once it's already been cooked, so you just want to make sure after each dab, you take a Q-tip that you'd buy. What is it called? A glob mob or glob slob or some shit like that. So you take that and you clean it out, and then Mrs. Weedman a little bit later, when I'm doing international news, she'll throw another dab in there, and then we'll light it up again and have some fun. But this is a phenomenal. Oh my God, his hash is just the smell
Tasty.
And the taste and just, that's what it's all about for me when it comes to hash. I don't need to get totally ripped. I've been ripped on hash before where I couldn't move for hours. I don't like that. I like just the light buzz of hash. I'm more about the flavor over everything. And the smell, it is just so creamy, right? It's just so rich and just, I just want to smother it like butter on a piece of toast and eat it. So while Mrs. Weedman is cleaning that puff go up, tell us a little bit about 8decades.com, Mrs. Weedman.
Yeah, if you don't know already, I'm going to tell you all about it. 8 Decades is our cannabis lifestyle brand. Mr. Weedman and I developed the brand post-COVID. It was our little COVID project. And it was just something that we decided to do to carry on our advocacy and continue to try to stomp the stigma. So head over to 8decades.com. That's EIGHT, decades.com. And you will find our shop. You can buy all sorts of good things. If you're watching us on video, you'll see our stuff on display here. We've got rolling trays and storage jars and hemp clothing, tote bags, pins, stickers, all sorts of fun things. And you'll also find information about the Weedman 420 Chronicles podcast, along with podcast swag.
Yay!
So check us out, sign up for our newsletter, and you will get free shipping on your first order.
Oh, yeah.
8decades.com.
Check it out, everybody. And as we always say, you support 8 Decades, we get to pay our producer, Shate.
That's right.
Shate the producer. So we had some special guests come visit us lately in the last couple of weeks. This property that we bought back in December was a fixer-upper. You know, we bought it from a 92-year-old woman. And we've been doing a lot of...
We've just decided she's 92.
Yeah.
We have no... She was in her 90s.
Yeah,
we
so
don't really know how old she was.
Rose. And so we've been doing a lot of work on the property, but now it's spring. And in the spring, the summertime, what's been wonderful about this property is the bird watching.
It's
and the
really
animal
like,
watching.
It's like a park.
Yes.
We have so many birds.
All different types. But these two birds that have been visiting us, we've had a bunch of turkeys, tons of turkeys on this property. But we have these birds called sandhill cranes, two of them, husband and wife, a couple. So we've seen them on the property before, but what was it, Sunday? Sunday. Mrs. Weedman was having a cup of coffee, reading and looking, and all of a sudden she hears a tap, like a tiny, like something hitting the glass. She turns around and there's the male sandhill crane saying, "Hi, Mrs. Weedman. Can I get some food?"
What are you doing? And then he saw my toes and he's like, what are those?
What are those things?
And he's like in the window, not
Literally,
intimidated or fearful of me at all.
Oh, it was amazing.
Yeah, it was really funny.
Yeah, so they've been visiting us quite often. They're so cool looking. But it was really cool how it just came right up to the window. It was not frightened at all. We had Yuki out in the yard, so Yuki didn't come and bark at the sandhill crane. So it was really cool. But go ahead, because I came out to watch it after you called me over.
No, they had been like hanging out on the front lawn, and the female was kind of nesting, and she was taking a little nap, and the male was watching her back, checking everything out. And so I knew they were out there, but I had my back to the window. And I'd check every, 10 minutes or so. I'd just be like, oh, I wonder if they're still there. I'd look. Yep, they're still there. Cute. Oh, neat. And next thing you know, I hear the tap, tap, tap. And this guy was just hanging out there.
For a while.
Yeah. So we did hear from one of the neighbors that the prior owner, she used to feed a lot of the birds, the turkeys and and these, sandhill cranes and woodpeckers, and we have blue jays. We have all sorts of cardinals, warblers.
Warblers. What's the little guys too?
The wrens.
Yeah. We have tons of the
mourning doves,
hummingbirds.
Yeah.
The turkeys though were out today.
The turkeys.
We had turkeys here today, like 6 of them on the property. And when we first moved here, I didn't know turkeys flew.
I didn't know that either.
And
I didn't know they hung out in trees.
Yes.
Yeah.
So one flew on top of the roof, and then 2 of them were in Yuki's yard. So I let Yuki out, and boy, oh boy, did they scatter. And Yuki was chasing them. It was extremely funny. But it was extremely funny to watch the turkey fly on the roof today.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
I saw him fly across the yard. I didn't realize he went on the roof.
Oh yeah. So when Yuki was having, it was the first time I let her out to chase them.
Yeah.
I have not let her chase them because we like the birds.
Yeah,
coming
we don't
on the
want to
property.
chase them.
No, we want them coming. So the wildlife here, the coyotes howling at midnight almost every night lately have been crazy. Deer walking up around the property.
We get things in twos.
Yes.
So
Gophers.
we're a little bit of Noah's Ark going on over here.
Gophers, rabbits, chipmunks. We call them chippies. Tons of frogs. I mean, the wildlife here is just insane. The bird watching is insane. It's just, it's really nice to just like peaceful, I would say. But the sandhill cranes were hilarious.
That was pretty funny.
Yes.
I haven't decided if I'm going to feed them or not.
Yeah, we haven't decided if we want to feed the animals
I know.
yet. So
I don't really want to.
Yeah, let them eat all the bugs.
But I want them to come back.
Yeah.
I kind of like that.
Yeah, we have a couple big berry trees. What are those called? Like a type of raspberry or blueberry or blackberry, some sort of blackberry. We got 2 big trees down by the other side of the property, and that's where it seems like a lot of the animals like to hang out at because there's like just eating them like crazy. So, so just fun news about the property. So, anyways, we're hot tea. Because we might got a cup of tea. So picture this, everybody. You packed your RV, fired up the camp stove, rolled a couple of joints for the after hike, and you're soaking in the beauty of Yellowstone. Birds are chirping, buffaloes are grazing, and all is good. Then Mother Nature looks over and says, "You picked the wrong campsite, buddy." A 2,000-pound bull bison recently turned one tourist relaxing vacation into an unexpected audition for the Olympic gymnastics.
Yeah, pole vaulting.
Oh my God. This poor guy went from taking scenery pictures to frequent flyer miles, about 8 feet in the air in about 2 seconds. Now, here's the crazy part. Unlike a lot of Yellowstone stories where people decide petting a bison sounds like a fantastic life choice, which we've seen videos of and just getting mauled.
Terrible,
but there's a terrible idea. Do not go up to a bison and pet it. This is a terrible idea. This grandfather and grandson were actually doing the right thing. They stayed far away, right? Witnesses say they were like well over the recommended distance, right? What we heard on the news while taking photos. But this fucking bull just said, "You know what? I'm in the violence."
He really was. He had like smoke coming out of his nostrils.
I'm woken up and I'm choosing to fuck somebody up today. So this massive bison had already been stomping around Bridge Bay Campground, charging at vehicles, kids, and pretty much anything that existed. Wildlife photographer Mike McLeod was filming because he could tell something wasn't right. Then out of nowhere, this bison locked onto the grandfather. And this man... I'm laughing. I feel so bad.
It was terrible.
I can't help laughing about it. And here's what happened. So he ducked. All of a sudden, we're watching it on TV. And I saw it on social media early in the day too, but then it was on the news. And I see him all of a sudden duck through the pine trees, right? Try to hide through there. And then the bison came through the trees, and he comes running out. The man looked like Santa Claus.
Yes.
Kind of had like Santa Claus beard, had overalls on, you know. And the bull came crashing through the trees and caught the grandfather with a fucking horn in his ass and threw this old man.
He got launched.
Probably weighed about 240, 250.
Big guy.
Easy, right? It was a big guy. Threw him 8 feet over a tree.
Like a stick.
And the
like
dude,
nothing.
and it wasn't like he just like flew up in the air. He went literally fucking sideways and his legs were flying. He did like a side flip. It wasn't even like a tuck and roll flip. It was like his whole body went like 360 on its side. I couldn't help but laugh.
Yes.
What did you say when you saw it? We were fucking
I saw it and I was like, "Did you see this?" Like, you almost couldn't believe it when you saw the video. But I did hear on the news tonight that he and his grandson visit there every year. So they're like frequent flyers.
Okay.
They were doing all the right things. They weren't antagonizing the animal. They were way far away from it. And when they saw the animal come toward them, the grandfather was smart enough to say, "You go that way, I'm going this way," trying to outsmart him and protect his grandson. And whatever, that buffalo just had something for that guy.
Where
he
the
launched,
buffalo
but the guy had
roam.
A broken leg in 4 places.
Oh no, really? I mean, he got
He got launched.
8 feet.
Yeah.
I mean, this bull and this guy was not light at all. If any of you
and this
saw
wasn't like a wee.
No,
this was like a
like he launched this guy. Launched him. And if anybody has seen this video, I'm sure some of you have on social media or on the news. This poor man. I mean, to break his leg in 4 places too. I feel so bad for laughing, but oh my God, was it at the time? It was.
He was offended. Everyone's calling him an old man. He's like, I'm turning 70. Relax, people.
Okay, a young old man.
A young old man.
There you go.
Nowadays, right?
Yeah.
That's a middle-ager.
Yeah, right? So here's our service announcement from the Weedman 420 Chronicles. If you're out enjoying nature this summer, remember that bison are not giant fuzzy cows. They're wild animals that can outrun you, outmuscle you, and apparently send you fucking into the low Earth orbit. Especially if they're having a bad day.
Yeah.
So the only thing you should do, should be getting launched on by your campfire, is conversation on a campfire when you light up a big fat doink, and that's the only way you should get lit up.
Our daughter, a bison story. She was coming back from Seattle. She camped her way back in her little tiny Honda Fit and went through a bunch of state parks, national parks on her way back to Chicago from Seattle, and one of which, I think when she was in Wyoming, she woke up, she was in her little campsite with her little pop-up tent, and she heard noise outside her tent. And it was the morning. She said it was light out, and sure enough, it was a bison outside. Oh. Yeah. And it was that, like, what do? Do you just sit tight? Yeah.
They say don't ever run.
Right.
Like, don't ever turn your back and run, because it piques
like,
the animal.
yeah.
It gets their instinct to chase you. So they say walk slowly and walk backwards.
Ooh.
And pray.
A lot of prayer. Pray to whatever you pray to.
Pray to whatever you pray to. Oh, the bison wins. You ready to get the show started?
Let's do it.
All right. Today's research comes from the study Edibles, Cannabis, Pain, Sleep, and Mental Health Management in Older Adults, published in JAMA Network Open. Researchers wanted to find out why adults over 60 are increasingly choosing cannabis edibles with symptoms they're hoping to treat, and what kind of products they're actually buying. One thing that stood out right away is that older adults are now the fastest growing group of cannabis consumers in America. That might surprise some people who grew up hearing that cannabis was nothing but trouble. Fast forward a few decades, and grandma might be asking the bud tender about gummies instead of asking the pharmacist about another prescription. I like that. The study looked at 169 adults in Colorado who were shopping for edible cannabis products. Researchers interviewed them before they made their purchase to understand what was driving the decision. This wasn't about whether cannabis worked. It was about why people were turning it into the first place. Biggest reason? Pain, trouble sleeping, anxiety, stress, and mood. Seems like that's everything I love cannabis for, to help out with. Sound familiar? Those are some of the most common health issues people deal with as they get older. What I found really interesting is that most participants weren't looking to get high. In fact, only about 14% chose THC products. Nearly 58% picked products containing both THC and CBD, while almost 29% chose CBD-only edibles. That tells us a lot about what older consumers are actually working for. They're chasing relief, not necessarily intoxication. Another major theme was that many participants felt like they already had tried everything else. Prescription medications, over-the-counter remedies, physical therapy, you name it. For many, cannabis wasn't the first stop. It was the option they explored after other treatments either didn't help enough or came with side effects they didn't like. Now, here's something healthcare providers should pay attention to. Many older adults admitted they weren't getting much guidance from their doctors. Some said their physicians simply didn't know enough about cannabis to advise them. Others didn't even bring it up because they expected to be judged. Instead, many relied on friends, family members, dispensary staff, or their own research to figure out dosing and product selection. That's a little concerning because edibles aren't like taking a puff from a joint. They could take an hour or two to kick in, and the effects can last much longer. If someone gets impatient, eats another gummy too soon, they may end up taking far more THC than intended. The research also found that many participants had concerns about psychoactive effects. They wanted symptoms relief without feeling overly impaired, which helps explain why combination THC-CBD products were so popular. CBD may help balance some of THC side effects, although everyone's response is different. The study isn't saying cannabis is a miracle cure, but it isn't proving that edibles work for every older adult. What it does show is that more seniors are interested in cannabis than ever before, and they're making a thoughtful decision based on their symptoms, previous treatment experience, and concerns about side effects. So what is the takeaway? The stigma around cannabis is fading. Yay! Even among the generations that were told to avoid it at all costs. As research continues to catch up with public interest, healthcare providers, caregivers, and patients are all going to need better conversation about safe dosing, product selection, and realistic expectations. Because whether you're 25 or 75, the goal is the same. Sleep a little better, hurt a little less, enjoy life a little more. And if grandma starts asking you the difference between a 1-to-1 gummy and a 10 milligram THC brownie, congratulations, everybody. We've officially entered a whole new era of cannabis education. And that's the truth, Mrs. Weedman.
For sure.
We talk about the Entourage effect a lot on the show over the last 7 years. And so Ms. Weedman is going to talk about marijuana entourage effect varies by terpene and cannabinoid receptors, this new study suggests. Tell us about it, Ms. Weedman.
Yep. One of the biggest debates in cannabis has always been whether the entourage effect is real. You hear people say that whole flower cannabis feels different than isolated THC, but until recently, scientists couldn't really explain why. A new study may have brought us one step closer to that answer. Researchers found that the entourage effect isn't a one-size-fits-all phenomena. Instead, it depends on which terpenes are present and which cannabinoid receptors they're interacting with. In laboratory testing, different terpene combinations activated the body's CB1 and CB2 receptors in different ways. Some terpene blends actually boosted THC's activity, while others had little effect at all. That's important because for years, the entourage effect has almost been treated like a marketing buzzword. Companies would claim that all terpenes magically made THC stronger. But this research suggests that it's much more nuanced than that. The study found certain terpene mixtures acted almost like supporting actors. They didn't necessarily steal the show from THC, but they changed how THC performed. Some combinations appeared to enhance receptor activity, while others influenced CB2 receptors, which are more closely associated with inflammation and immune responses. For consumers, this could explain something many consumers have been saying for years. Two strains with the exact same THC percentages can feel completely different. One strain might leave you relaxed and ready for a movie marathon, while another, with nearly identical THC content, has you rearranging the garage at 2 o'clock in the morning. The difference may have less to do with THC itself and more to do with the terpene profile surrounding it. It also reinforces why shopping solely by THC percentage doesn't always lead to the experience that you're looking for. The entire chemical profile of the flower, including terpenes and minor cannabinoids, may play a much bigger role than we've given it credit for. Now, it's worth mentioning this research was done in laboratory models, so scientists aren't saying they've completely solved the entourage effect. The human studies are still needed to determine exactly how these interactions translate to real-world cannabis use. But what this research does provide is a possible biological explanation for something patients, consumers, and cultivators have been observing for decades. I think this is exciting because it moves the conversation away from chasing the biggest THC number on the label and toward understanding that the plant there's more to it, right? There's a plant, a whole plant. Mm-hmm. Cannabis has hundreds of compounds working together. And we are finally beginning to understand that those compounds aren't all doing the same job. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
We love our terpenes.
Yeah, a lot of people were very speculative about the entourage effect.
Yes.
People would roll their eyes about it, like, the entourage effect, da-da-da.
Yeah.
But I guess there's some reality to it.
Yes,
right?
there is. So to what extent do different types of dosages of cannabinoids have in treating anxiety disorder? A doctoral research dissertation from Liberty University. It tackles a question that comes up all the time in the cannabis community. Can cannabis actually help with anxiety, or can it sometimes make things worse? If you ever talked to cannabis consumers, you've probably heard both sides. One person says, a little cannabis melts my stress away. Another says, one bad edible had me convinced the delivery guy was an undercover cop. So who's right? According to the research, both experiences can be true. One of the biggest takeaways is different cannabinoids affects people differently. THC, the primary psychoactive compound in cannabis, has a bit of a balancing act going on. At lower doses, many people report feeling calmer, more relaxed, and less anxious. But as the dose increases, those relaxing effects can flip, causing nervousness, racing thoughts, paranoia, or even a panic in some individuals. That's an important reminder that when it comes to THC, more isn't always better. Then there's CBD, the cannabinoid that becomes famous for helping people unwind without producing the traditional cannabis high. The dissertation reviews evidence suggesting CBD may have an analogistic or anxiety-reducing properties. Researchers believe CBD interacts with serotonin receptors in the brain, which are also targeted by several prescriptions anti-anxiety medications. While scientists are still working to understand the exact mechanism, the findings are encouraging. The study also points out that dosage matters just as much as the type of cannabinoids. Anxiety isn't something where everyone can take the same amount and expect the same results. Age, body chemistry, metabolism, previous cannabis experience, and even your mood that day can all influence how cannabinoids affects you. That part right there, your mood will definitely affect your cannabis when you smoke or when you use cannabis. If I'm in a fucking not in the right headspace at that time, cannabis is not on my menu.
I'm not in the opposite. If I'm not in good headspace, I want cannabis because it resets me.
Because I get too in my head and I don't want it. It doesn't reset. It makes me dwell on that fucking thing so bad to where it's like, why did I smoke? And I knew better. I've done it too many times. So I know to get the problem out of my head first and then go enjoy the weed. So think of it like making a cup of coffee. 1 cup might wake you up and get you moving. 5 cups? Oof, I'd be shitting my pants. Now you're reorganizing the garage at 3 a.m. and wondering why your heart is beating like a drum solo. Cannabinoids can work in a similar way. Finding the right dose is often about starting low, paying attention to how your body responds, and adjusting carefully over time. Another interesting point is that researchers discuss the entourage effect. Correlates with Mrs. Weedman's, right? The idea that cannabinoids, terpenes, and other compounds in the cannabis plant may work together rather than independently. Instead of focusing only on THC percentages, which we talked about a lot in the last episode, this supports the growing belief that a balanced cannabis profile may provide more consistent therapeutic effects for some people. The dissertation also stresses that cannabis isn't a one-size-fits-all treatment for anxiety disorders. Some individuals may experience meaningful symptom relief, while others may find THC actually increases anxiety. That's why medical guidance and continued research remain so important, especially for people who diagnose anxiety disorders or those taking other medications. The author ultimately concludes that the evidence is promising, but there's still gaps in our understanding. More large-scale clinical trials are needed to determine the most effective cannabinoid combinations, dosing strategies, and long-term safety for treating anxiety. So what's the takeaway? Cannabis may become an increasingly valuable tool for maximizing anxiety, but success depends on the right cannabinoid, the right dose, and the right person. Chasing the highest THC percentage isn't necessarily the path to feeling better. Sometimes a balanced product or even one that's CBD dominant may be a better choice. As cannabis science continues to evolve, studies like this remind us that education is just as important as legalization. Understanding what you are consuming is one of the best ways to have a positive experience, because the goal isn't to smoke yourself into another dimension. For some, maybe. It's to find a little more peace of mind here on this planet we call Earth. That was good. That was a good one.
That's good.
Yeah, that was really good. I enjoyed that, putting that one together. Yes, we've been talking a lot about THC percentage for a while now. I mean, for a very long while, but the last episode, and we really hit it hard again, because there might be new listeners and there might be new people out there that are experiencing cannabis new, I'll say it once and I'll say it till the day I die. You smoking straight 95 to 99% THC percentage is just going to fuck up your fucking body. It's going to fuck up your entourage, your endocannabinoid system. I talk to people all the time that cannot smoke cannabis anymore because all they want driven was THC percentage and would smoke it 24/7. Now they can't smoke anymore. They smoke it. They get so paranoid. Their anxiety goes through the roof. They don't like it. They don't like how their body feels. It's so sad because at one point I asked them, did you enjoy it? They're like, I loved it. I love cannabis. And
but they also say they don't really ever feel high.
Right.
They wish they could feel like the pleasant aspects of feeling high.
Mm-hmm. It's you've had conversations with people too. Like we offer weed to people. I can't smoke anymore, and you're like, why? It just makes me too crazy. It gets in my head and I get all funky. I just want to go home and not be around people.
Or it makes people sick.
Yeah. The scromiting and stuff too. You have to understand something.
They've just overconsumed.
Do not just think it's all about THC percentage when you're buying weed. Just trust me. When I was buying weed back in my high school years and college years, and
you didn't even know how much THC was in it.
Can I get a bag of weed?
Yeah.
You got great, good, okay, and mediocre.
Crumbs.
Yeah, crumb burgers. But we knew it was good. We got high, but we didn't know THC percentages. We didn't know there was no strain names. It was just like Ma 427, just pot.
Yeah.
So I don't know, everybody. Just think about your body and what you're doing to it. Slow it down. Enjoy the plant. Enjoy your time on this planet, like it said in what we just read, and enjoy the full spectrum of the plant, like we just did with this beautiful hash that Wolfman made us. Oh my God, do I feel good right now? So, Ms. Weedman, there's terms now, cannabis terms, some newer stuff that some people might not be familiar with versus some of the words that we knew. Right. So, especially if you're going to a dispensary or talking to people, there's words now you need to know. Tell us about them, Ms. Weedman.
Yeah, if you've ever walked into a dispensary and felt like the bud tender was speaking another language, you are definitely not alone. Cannabis has developed its own vocabulary over the years, and while some of those terms have real meaning, others are just buzzwords that can leave consumers more confused than informed. Take the word exotic. It's everywhere, right? Generally, it refers to rare or premium flower with unique genetics, impressive appearance, and complex aromas. Think of strains that you don't see on your everyday menu, but here's the catch. There's no official definition. One dispensary's exotic flower could be another dispensary's regular Tuesday special. Exotic is more of a product reputation than an actual feature of any flower, so keep that in mind. Then there's craft cannabis. If you're familiar with craft beer, craft coffee, you already have that general idea. Craft cannabis usually means that it's grown on a smaller scale with more attention to quality. Growers often focus on careful cultivation, hand trimming, proper curing, and producing smaller harvests instead of massive commercial crops. Another thing about craft is genetics are really important. And that's where all of the quality comes from. you have to have good seeds.
Yeah, I consider a lot of the home growers or the traditional market growers more craft than anything else.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Because they've perfected their craft, or trying to perfect their craft.
Yep, or they're keeping legacy strains alive and
Look
keeping
at you,
it.
Mrs. Weedman.
Yeah. Although, here we go, back to the article, there's no universal standard once again. So it's worth asking your bud tender what they mean when they say something is craft cannabis. Another term that you're going to see all over dispensary shelves is full spectrum. We talk about it a lot, right? This is especially common with vape cartridges, tinctures, and edibles. Full spectrum products are designed to preserve a broader range of the plant's natural cannabinoids and terpenes, instead of isolating THC by itself, otherwise known as distillate. The idea is to give consumers, distillate is the THC by itself, right? Full spectrum is having like a rosin, hash, that kind of a thing. It's clean, it's better, right?
Yes, it's what we're smoking right now, everybody.
Yes.
It's the whole plant. It's full spectrum.
Yeah, it is important to understand full spectrum because it really is a superior product.
Oh, my God.
And yeah, but just like all cannabis terms, full spectrum isn't defined exactly the same way by every manufacturer. So you still need to read your labels, you still need to ask questions and, get to know the product and the brand, and if that's really what you're looking for. Okay, and then we have small batch. Have you heard that reference? It sounds fancy, but it simply means that the cannabis was produced in limited quantities, kind of like craft, right? Small batch, the assumption is that the smaller harvest allows growers to pay closer attention to quality and consistency, like we just talked about with craft cannabis. Whether that's always true depends on the grower, though. Small production often does allow for more hands-on care, but again, ask your bud tender about the brand and do a little homework. And finally, top shelf. I mean, that goes back to liquor, right? Top shelf, you presume, is the best, right? This might be the oldest cannabis sales term around, but it's also one of the most subjective. Many dispensaries use it for their highest priced flower, but expensive doesn't automatically mean better. Freshness, genetics, terpene content, curing, how the flower was grown, all of that plays a role in quality. Sometimes middle shelf can surprise you just as much as the premium stuff. So the takeaway here is that cannabis consumers are becoming more educated every year, and that's a good thing. Don't be afraid to ask questions when you're shopping, and don't let these buzzwords intimidate you. Good cannabis isn't about sounding sophisticated. It's about finding what works best for you. And after all, the best strain is the one that leaves you smiling.
Yeah, like me right now with that. Political state business news. Cannabis companies are finding new ways to raise money as investors become more selective. Instead of chasing rapid expansion, businesses are focusing on profitability, transparency, and realistic growth plans. The days of easy cannabis cash are fading, and that's forcing smarter decisions. Turns out investors like green, but they still want to see black ink. The American Banker Association is once again urging Congress to pass the Safe Banking Act, saying cannabis businesses deserve access to traditional banking services. Supporters argue it would improve public safety, reduce cash-heavy operations, and give legitimate businesses the financial tools they need. New Hampshire race for governor is heating up after the Democratic challengers criticized the current governor's veto of the bill that would have allowed medical marijuana patients to cultivate cannabis in greenhouses. Oh my God, it just doesn't make any sense. But the issue is becoming another campaign talking about point as patients continue pushing for expanded access. The American Medical Association says cannabis offers both benefits and risks for older adults while also supporting a ban on flavored cannabis vape products. The organization is calling for more research and careful regulation as cannabis use continues rising among seniors. Employees at additional Missouri cannabis businesses have voted to unionize following the federal labor ruling and strengthen workers' organizing rights. The successful votes continue a growing trend as more cannabis employees seek better wages, workplace protections, and benefits across the expanding industry. It looks like cannabis workers are rolling together in more ways than one. Wyoming will continue classifying marijuana as a Schedule I controlled substance under state law, even as federal policy discussions evolve. State officials say existing Wyoming laws remain unchanged for now, leaving cannabis prohibited despite ongoing national reform efforts. Wyoming, what is going on? Oh my gosh. Recreational cannabis sales in Washington are declining after years of steady growth. Industry leaders point to increased competition, changing consumer habits, inflation, and market saturation as reasons for the slowdown. Even mature cannabis markets have to keep evolving to stay healthy. How about your highest tax rates in the country, too? That doesn't help. Illinois regulators have updated dispensaries on expanded possession limits while also allowing licensed locations to add drive-through pickup windows were permitted. The changes aim to improve convenience for consumers while helping dispensaries better serve medical and adult use customers. Alaskans with certain low-level marijuana convictions can now keep your records private under new state law. Supporters say the change helps move barriers to employment housing and other opportunities for people with minor cannabis offenses. Everybody deserves a fresh start, especially over a little flower. Federal policymakers are facing renewed calls to modernize medical cannabis policy by expanding research, improving patient access, and creating consistent national standards. Advocates argue current federal rules have fallen behind both science and state legalization efforts. A new federal report offers guidance to states on testing and collaborating with scales used to weigh marijuana products. Accurate measurements help ensure fair sales, regulatory compliance, and consumer confidence across legal markets because nobody likes finding out their eighth was actually really not close enough. Imagine getting an eighth, spending your money on an eighth at a dispensary, and it's like only 3 grams, not 3.5.
I'd be mad.
Me too. Members of the San Francisco Board of Supervisors voted 7-4 to allow Amsterdam-style cannabis cafes, giving adults a place to legally purchase and consume cannabis in social settings. Supporters hope that lounges will boost tourism and local businesses while offering a safe alternative to consuming in public. Good for you. Amsterdam style. Now, over to you, Mrs. Weedman.
Yeah, I've got some more political, state, and business news. Starting with Michigan, their Supreme Court ruled that people on probation can't automatically be prohibited from using medical marijuana if they are qualified patients. The decision reinforces legal protections for registered medical cannabis users while recognizing the treatment needs of those on probation. Because recovery and compassion can absolutely share the same table. A new poll shows most cannabis consumers don't expect the Trump administration to complete federal marijuana rescheduling before the end of the year. Boo-hoo. After years of delays and political promises, many people are keeping their expectations firmly grounded. Hope is wonderful, but patience has definitely become a cannabis consumer's superpower. America's hemp industry is urging Congress to act before stricter rules and regulations and legal uncertainty force more businesses to close their doors. Farmers, manufacturers, and retailers say clear federal rules are essential to keep the industry alive and competitive. You can't grow a healthy crop when the rule book changes every season. A new Virginia law is drawing criticism because some medical cannabis patients may have to choose between using their legally prescribed medicine and qualifying for certain housing. Advocates say no patient should face losing their residency over their health care decisions. Home should be where healing happens. Kentucky medical cannabis patients who relied on products from neighboring states are now facing much higher prices as those purchases become unavailable. Many worry that added costs could put treatment out of reach for those on fixed incomes. Maryland's Open Roads Tour is connecting cannabis social equity businesses with minority-owned suppliers to help build stronger local partnerships and create new economic opportunities. The program focuses on collaboration, networking, and long-term business growth. North Carolina's governor and House speakers continue to disagree over marijuana legalization, keeping the issue front and center in state politics. While supporters push for reform, legislative divisions mean meaningful changes may still take time. Cannabis companies now have clearer access to federal bankruptcy protections after recent legal developments, giving struggling businesses more options to reorganize instead of shutting down completely. Industry leaders say it's an important step toward treating licensed cannabis businesses like any other legitimate company. Every business deserves a fair chance to bounce back. Amen to that. Mm-hmm. A Texas senator says he'll renew efforts to ban hemp-derived THC products during the next legislative session, keeping the debate over intoxicating hemp products alive. Supporters cite public safety concerns, while opponents warn the move could hurt businesses and consumers. Looks like Texas isn't done stirring the pot. No pun intended. A Massachusetts ballot initiative that would roll back parts of the state's marijuana legalization law has officially qualified for the November election. Voters will ultimately decide whether to keep current policies or make significant changes. Democracy is a beautiful thing. Just remember to read the ballot before lighting up. Make sure you're signing the right thing. 2 multi-state cannabis operators earned spots among America's best companies, highlighting strong workplace culture, business performance, and employee satisfaction, despite ongoing industry challenges. It's a reminder that cannabis companies can thrive when they invest in both their people and their mission.
There you go. That's cool to see 2 cannabis companies on the top of the list. That's awesome. So,
I'm going to get this baby fired up again.
All right. Yeah. Back over to me.
Back over to you.
Federal marijuana rescheduling can unlock billions of dollars for cannabis industries by easing tax burdens, encouraging new investment. Analysts say the economic ripple could affect benefit business workers and state economies if reform finally moves forward. Ohio lawmakers are advancing efforts to close regulatory gap that allow intoxicating hemp products to be sold outside the state's licensed cannabis system. Supporters say consistent oversight will improve consumer safety and create a more level playing field. Miami is embracing cannabis culture in new ways, with events and entertainment helping normalize legal consumption while attracting curious locals and tourists alike. As legalization expands across the country, cannabis is becoming part of the mainstream social experiences instead of something hidden in the shadows. Federal judge is questioning whether marijuana use alone justifies restricting firearm ownership, noting that legal cannabis is now common across much of the country. The comments add to the growing legal debate over how federal gun laws should apply to cannabis consumers. A congressional bill advancing through the House would require federal health officials to better track marijuana and other drug testing in hospital emergency rooms. Supporters say improved data could help shape future public health policies and education efforts. Pennsylvania lawmakers have introduced legislation that would reserve new medical marijuana licenses for small businesses and entrepreneurs from diverse and disadvantaged communities. Supporters say the proposal would create broader opportunities as the state cannabis industry continues to grow. All right, everybody. We've been talking about this little section of the DEA rescheduling, and here he explains, since it started back in earlier the year, going on into last year, going into this year, and then it was stopped for a minute because the judge retired, and now it resumed for the last 15 days. On Wednesday, July 15th will be the last day. Today's Tuesday, July 14th. So just wanted to go a little bit of a timeline. We've been giving you bits and pieces here since it started. So one of the most interesting cannabis stories this week isn't about a new law or legalization vote. It's about something happening quietly behind the scenes that can have every major implications for the future of federal cannabis policy. This article, The Quietest Fight of the DA's Life, Reflections of Marijuana Rescheduling Hearing, explains that while most people have stopped paying attention to the DA's rescheduling process, the legal battle is actually entering one of the most important phases. And here's what's going on. Back in April, the Department of Justice moved state-licensed medical cannabis from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3 under new law legal pathway. But that wasn't the end of the story. Now the DA is holding an administrative hearing to determine whether broader cannabis rescheduling should move forward, and those hearings could shape federal cannabis policy for years to come. What makes this hearing so unusual is who's in the room and who's missing. The DA selected participants that are largely opposed to marijuana reform, while many organizations that support rescheduling weren't allowed to participate directly. That has raised concerns that the hearing may not reflect the full spectrum of scientific evidence or industry perspectives. Supporters of reform argue that if only one side gets to testify, it's difficult to build a complete and balanced record. Now, here's where it gets even more complicated. At the same time these hearings are taking place, several lawsuits have already been filed challenging the Justice Department's decision to reschedule medical cannabis. Those cases are now working their way through the federal courts, meaning that the future of rescheduling depends on both the courtroom and the hearing room. The article's biggest point is that this isn't the loud political battle we've seen in the past. There aren't daily headlines or dramatic press conferences. Instead, lawyers, judges, regulators, lawyers, guns, and money. And Warren Zevon, everybody, if you didn't know that. And policy experts are quietly arguing over legal procedures, scientific evidence, the administrative rules, and could ultimately determine how cannabis is regulated nationwide. For the cannabis industry, the stakes are enormous. A successful move to Schedule 3 can mean significant tax relief for many businesses, easier medical research, and another major step toward federal normalization. On the other hand, if the courts reject the process or the hearings don't hold up legally, it could create yet another delay in cannabis reform. Cannabis reform isn't always won with flashy headlines, everybody. Sometimes the biggest battles happen in conference rooms filled with attorneys, scientists, and regulators instead of politicians on television. It may not be the most exciting show in Washington. Well, to me it is. But the decision made in these hearings could affect patients, businesses, researchers, and consumers for years to come. Sometimes the quietest fight ends up making the loudest impact. So the 15th, everybody, man, everyone just hopefully it ends right in the right way. So, Ms. Weedman,
Mr. Weedman,
tell us what is THC inflation, and then we'll smoke that.
Okay. Well, have you ever picked up a jar of flour labeled 35% THC and thought, wow, this is going to send me to the moon? Well, maybe not. A growing number of experts are warning about something called THC inflation, and it's becoming a real concern across the legal cannabis industry. THC inflation happens when the potency listed on a product's label is higher than what's actually in the flower. According to cannabis testing experts, some studies have found that THC percentages on retail products can be exaggerated by 25 to 35% or more. The problem isn't necessarily that the cannabis is bad, it's that the numbers consumers rely on may not tell the whole story. How does this happen? One reason is what's known as lab shopping. We mentioned this briefly in the last episode. Since many consumers automatically buy the product with the highest THC percentage, some cultivators send samples to multiple testing laboratories and choose the results and the reports with the highest number. While many labs follow strict scientific standards, others have been accused of using testing methods that consistently produce inflated potency results. Oh, I got to take a break?
Not yet.
No, not yet. Okay. Another factor is how the sample is prepared. Some labs dry cannabis samples more aggressively before testing. Drying removes water weight but doesn't remove THC, so the cannabinoid makes up a larger percentage of the sample by weight. Tricky. The result? A flower that might realistically test lower can suddenly look much stronger on paper than it actually is when you buy it. I'm going to take a little puff here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Give me that.
Tasty.
Mm-mm.
So why does that even matter? For medical patients, think about it. Accurate labeling is incredibly important. If someone is trying to find the right dose for pain, anxiety, or other conditions, inflated numbers can make that much more difficult. Even recreational consumers deserve to know exactly what they're paying for and consuming. Trust is a huge part of any legal market, and if people lose confidence in lab results, it hurts everyone, from growers and dispensaries to the consumers themselves. Hang on, smoke break.
There you go.
Yummy yums. Oh, one more.
One more.
Okay.
One more for good luck. There you go, Miss Weedman.
The good news.
Little dab will do you.
A little dab will do you. is that many scientists, testing laboratories, and regulators are pushing for standardized testing methods and stronger oversight. The goal is simple: make sure the number on the label actually reflects what's in the jar. And honestly, this circles back to something we've talked about before on the show. THC percentage isn't the only thing that determines whether cannabis is good. Terpenes, minor cannabinoids, freshness, curing, genetics, they all play a role in the experience. Some of the best flower I've had was not the highest THC on the shelf. It was the one with the best aroma, the best flavor, and it gave me the best overall effect. So next time you're shopping, don't let one big number do all the talking. The smartest cannabis consumers are learning to look at the whole picture, because the best flower isn't always the one shouting the loudest from its label. Is there more?
You might get a little bit left. Might be a little hit in there. Maybe. If not, you can always puff it again. A little bit. Not much. I tell you what, though,
It's okay.
Wolfie.
That's tasty.
Yeah, thank you so much for throwing to the cause. And now we're going to go into international news. Ghana's education minister says students caught selling cannabis on school campuses should face immediate dismissal, arguing the policy will help protect learning environments and discourage drug distribution in schools. Rastafarians in Kenya are asking the courts to recognize cannabis use as part of the religious freedom. Supporters say the case is about constitutional rights and equal treatment, while opponents argue existing drug laws should remain in place. Germany's medical cannabis market is booming with affordable high THC products, driving patient demand and increasing competition among suppliers. Lower prices are improving access while encouraging more patients to enter the legal medical system. South Korea is expanding medical cannabis research as scientists and healthcare leaders explore new treatments for serious illnesses. Continued investments reflecting growing interest and evidence based on cannabinoid therapies despite the country's traditionally strict cannabis laws. A New Zealand woman has been sentenced after supplying cannabis oil to others without legal authorization. The case has renewed debate over patient access, compassionate use, and whether current medical cannabis ruled adequately meet public needs. Fans at the Wimbledon's men's finals got more entertainment than expected when comedian Sacha Baron Cohen, appearing as Ali G, jokingly appeared to offer drugs from his courtside seat during the comedy stunt. The prank quickly made headlines and had spectators doing double takes. Only Ali G could serve comedy between tennis serves. Nepal's Gandik province has unanimously approved legalization to legalize marijuana cultivation for medical and industrial purposes. Supporters hope to the move will boost local agriculture, create jobs, and support future research while opening new economic opportunities. Researchers in South Australia are identifying hemp varieties that require less water, aiming to improve sustainability and help farmers adapt to changing climate conditions. More efficient crops could strengthen hemp production while reducing environment impact. Italian courts continue to weaken restrictions on CBD flower, with recent rulings favoring businesses and consumers over stricter government interpretations. The legal landscape remains unsettled, but supporters see the decision as another step toward cleaner cannabis regulations. Slow and steady. Even legal reform eventually crosses the finish line, Mrs. Weedman.
That's right.
And that is international news, everybody. Now, Mrs. Weedman is going to tell you a little bit about this new for your backyard, everybody. Your backyard herb garden that you got growing. Why don't you just add a little touch of what, Mrs. Weedman?
THC.
Cannabis plant. Tell us about it, Mrs. Weedman.
Yep. Let's wrap up tonight with a story for everyone who's ever looked at their backyard and thought, you know what it needs? More plants. Well, one gardening expert says cannabis deserves a spot right alongside your tomatoes, basil, lavender, and rosemary. For years, people have thought of cannabis as this mysterious plant that requires a secret grow room, expensive equipment, and a PhD in horticulture. But educator and author Penny Barthel, yep, that's it, Barthel, says that's simply not true. She believes cannabis can be grown as just another beautiful garden plant, especially in states where home cultivation is legal. In fact, she encourages gardeners to stop thinking of cannabis as something separate from the rest of the yard. Cannabis can blend right into flower beds, raised garden boxes, and herb. I'm stoned.
Thanks, Wolfie.
Or herb gardens. Besides producing usable flower, the plant itself is actually attractive. I totally 100% agree. With its vibrant green leaves, unique shape, and aromatic scent, it can be just as eye-catching as many ornamental plants people intentionally landscape with. Another point she makes is that gardening is therapeutic. Whether you're growing vegetables, herbs, flowers, or cannabis, there's something satisfying about getting your hands in the dirt, watching a tiny seed become a thriving plant, and caring for it every day. Cannabis just happens to offer an extra reward at harvest time. Of course, growing cannabis outdoors isn't completely effortless. Like tomatoes or peppers, it needs healthy soil, plenty of sunlight, regular watering, and a little attention along the way. Depending on where you live, you'll also want to understand your local laws before planting anything in your backyard. Home grow rules can vary quite a bit from state to state and even from city to city. I also love the idea that home gardening helps people connect with the plant in a completely different way. When you've spent months nurturing a cannabis plant from seed to harvest, you gain a new appreciation for everything that goes into producing quality flower. It isn't just something that magically appears on a dispensary shelf. It takes time, patience, and a little bit of love. And honestly, if your garden already has basil, mint, thyme, tomatoes, peppers, and sunflowers, who's to say cannabis doesn't deserve an invitation to the party? Just imagine walking into your backyard, grabbing a handful of fresh herbs for dinner, picking a ripe tomato for your salad, and giving your favorite cannabis plant a little nod on the way back inside. That's what I'd call a well-rounded garden. Cannabis really is another remarkable plant, and for those lucky enough to legally grow it at home, it might just become your favorite thing in the garden. It is pretty fun to grow.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's great.
Mm-hmm.
Love growing outdoors.
Yeah.
Yes. We will be doing that next spring again.
Yes, we will.
Yes. I cannot wait. So we're just learning our land right
land.
now. And then we'll have
This is
spots.
a year of discovery.
Oh, yeah. We've discovered a lot. Oh, shit. Mrs. Weedman,
Mr. Weedman,
that's the end of the show.
that went too fast.
I know. You got anything else to say before we go?
I'm going to smoke some more of that.
Yeah, we're going
Hash.
to throw a fresh in there.
Yeah.
Freshy.
Freshy,
Clean that one
freshy.
out and freshy it up. So, I'd like to thank Wolfman throwing to the cause.
Thank you, Wolfman.
Yeah, thank you, Wolfie. We love you.
Good
Appreciate
stuff.
it. All the way from Michigan, baby. Michigan hash. So good. So, everybody out there, thank you for listening. We truly appreciate you. We love you. As Paulie always says, smoke smart. Puff, puff, and away.
Puff, puff, pass.
Check out our cannabis lifestyle brand online at 8decades.com. Our custom smokes and accessories are perfect for your coffee table, bedroom nightstand, or kitchen counter. They're designed for you to show them off. The Canna community is also loving our hemp and cotton blend t-shirts, sweatshirts, scarves, and hats, finished off with our 8 Decades logo. We've got some awesome long-lasting goods that will be your favorite for years to come. 8 Decades, because a 9th decade of cannabis prohibition isn't acceptable.